All right, Brian, check this out. So Justin's coming up the inside, right? He's carrying all his momentum. Doesn't want to touch brakes.
Oh, man, I clenched, fully clenched there. I don't know about you.
Oh, absolutely. Hey, guys, welcome back. More fan footage sent in by our buddy Justin. Hey, and don't forget, NorCalCyclingVideos at gmail.com. You can send in your footage and have frenemy analysis on your own race footage. Speaking of frenemies, Brian, welcome back.
Yeah, thanks for having me back. I mean, I guess it's good. A good point to note that I am not next to you. I am in quarantine, and we're doing this over the interbuts. But yeah, don't know what footage we're gonna get sent to us. I guess we're gonna get some nice spring footage and from people, but that's about it. Looks like racing's on a little bit of a hold for right now.
NorCal Cycling Videos studio is empty right now. I don't have my frenemy Brian next to me, but through the power of Skype, we can still bring you guys some footage. And like I said in my last video, I'm sitting on a whole bunch of fan footage and also old footage of my own. So we're going to keep you guys entertained.
Yeah, I think that's all we could do right now is entertain ourselves.
So let's talk about today's race. This is our boy Justin from R Cubed. You've seen his videos before. I'm going to link a few in the description if you want to check those out. And big shout out to Justin, man, for getting his Cat 2 upgrade. A year ago, he was Cat 5. This dude's got some talent. We've talked about it, and we've talked specifically about applying his talent into race-winning situations, because I think that he's come a long way in that respect, strategy-wise.
Yeah, and I think it really comes back to, doing this kind of race analysis on your own week over week over week, and learning from how you screw up the week before and improve on that the next week.
Yep. So this is the Frozen 4 race series you guys saw last week's, and this is the Redemption race video. So let's just get right into it. We have fast forwarded a bit because I want to talk about a critical moment in this race. I don't know if we mentioned this. He was by himself today, actually. So Justin's got no teammates. At least he didn't mention it in his write-up to me. So you got to be real careful when you don't have teammates, and you can see there's a group off the front right now. Justin's not there. It looks like it's kind of coalescing into a pretty threatening-looking breakaway, and at this point, I'd be looking for a way to get across. What about you, Brian?
Yeah, and I think, the first thing I would think was, okay, where's a free ride? And right on that moment, it's perfect.
Choo-choo.
Yeah. I mean, just hop on. Any time you can get a free ride, whether it's across to a break or moving up, like, you need to take it. Just because you can move up one spot on your own doesn't mean you should if you can't get a free ride. And this guy pulls him all the way across. It doesn't really look like it has quite the same amount of horsepower to be threatening, but there's no risk now. He's there. He's not going to miss out. And, 4, 5 guys plus yourself, like, that's a solid, dangerous group. That's kind of that sweet number for a breakaway to work.
And they're just barely hanging on to a gap right now. It's almost like you can measure it by the number of bike lengths instead of seconds. It's like a 2 or 3 second gap, but they are rotating, which is nice.
Yeah, and the power seems a little spiky too, right? I mean, he's doing 600 watts right here, 500 watts going into this corner. Probably a little too much, right? Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. You got to keep that breakaway together if you want it to work. But looks like he took it into his own hands and decided to go solo. Go solo 'cause YOLO, right?
Well, that is your mantra, but go solo 'cause YOLO from 16Ks out when you're a sprinter, I don't know if that's the best idea. Let's talk about that a little bit, because I think there's a time and a place for this. Like, I'd be a hypocrite if I said this was a bad idea, because I do it at Alviso all the time. I don't know, Mr. Go Solo 'cause YOLO, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, no, I definitely have some thoughts on this. I think it's really important to understand why you're attacking. I think you have to think about, is this an opportunistic move? Did it just fall in my lap? Like, he kind of just went off the front because he could. And I think as somebody who is a self-identified sprinter and has shown time and time again he's a very good sprinter, I think it's really important to understand like what the benefits of going off the front are here. And I think there's probably twofold, right? One is you can avoid the spikes and the energy losses with being in a pack and the accelerations that come with a pack, and you kind of get to pick your line choice, like the most efficient line choices. Now I don't necessarily think he's doing a great job at that. I think he's a little bit spiky on the power. He's definitely taking the insides when he can and trying to kind of hold his momentum, but the power needs to be really, really smooth for a solo effort to be worth it, especially for 15 kilometers to go as a sprinter, right?
Yeah, no, I'll just reiterate what you said. The two major benefits that I see, because I do this, you guys know, this is one of my tricks at Alviso, and the two major benefits, like Brian said, are you can smooth out your power, which is way more consistent and efficient riding. And you can also take really good lines through the corners. And he's doing okay here, but I would argue he could be doing a lot better at both those objectives right here. And he's got to think, like, does he want to commit to this? Or is it worth his time? Because if he's better off sitting in the pack, right? Like if it's just a non-technical course and you're better off just sitting in the pack waiting for the sprint, because we know that Justin has a fantastic sprint, then it might be better to sit in the pack. Kind of depends on the nature of the course too, right? Because if it's extra technical, this makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, and I think this course is, you can almost pedal through every single one of these corners. I mean, he has his hands over his handlebars, which I don't know if I recommend for somebody taking corners with your hands, just forearms on the handlebars. But I mean, that points to the fact that this course is basically just this a slightly bent track, right? I think the other thing you want to mention is probably understanding, like, are you actually going to make it to the finish? Are you just trying to draw people out? And if so, why are you riding at 300, 400 watts?
Yeah. He seems really unsure. Like, you can see his shadows and stuff. He keeps looking back. His power will drop suddenly, and then it'll spike back up. So he seems really indecisive, and you just have to have a clear picture in your mind, like, what is the purpose of this? And if you can't come up with a quick answer, it's probably not worth it.
Yeah, he's like coasting right there. He's coasting, hanging out, and just looking over his shoulder. I think it's, maybe it's the white flag.
Now he's calling it quits time, yeah.
But then the question is like, then it was truly all for nothing when he was riding at 400 watts, and then he still has a gap and is riding at 100 watts and sitting up. Like, I think good on you for calling it, but you probably should have called it earlier, or you probably should have not ridden at 400 watts for as long as you did.
Yeah, for sure. So let's cut forward a bit and see if he saved anything for the finish. Okay, here we go. We're coming into one lap to go, and holy smokes, 800 meters to go. These laps are so short. And Justin's found himself a bit out of position here, so he needs to move up. You don't want to be like 15th wheel and coming into 700 meters to go, right, Brian?
Yeah, and I think, he's done a good job of making sure he's on the inside, which I think is really critical at these ending laps. It can feel a little bit chaotic, especially for passing riders like that on the inside, but hey, you got to stay inside. It's the safest route. Yep. It's the fastest route, and he's still, I don't know, maybe 10 wheels back here with 400 meters to go. I mean,
time to punch it, like, immediately, because there's a team on the front who has control, which is kind of rare for some of these Masters races. Usually don't have team organization like this, but it's time to punch it. 300 meters to go, time to go. Like I say before, guys, if you come to the last corner first, you're probably going to win the bike race. And look at Justin smashing up the inside. Takes the
last corner
first. You finish the last corner, 140 meters to go. If you have anything left in the tank, you're going to win. Turns out Justin had a lot left in the tank. Check this out. He wins by a country mile.
Yeah, that's a nice clean double sprint, right? You want to make sure you're first to the last corner, first to the finish line. I mean, especially when it's only 150 meters, like you said.
But wait, there's more. There's more to this story, Brian. There was a protest, and for you guys interested, why don't you pause it right now, rewind, watch the last lap, half a lap, something like that. Just rewind to one to go, watch it through, tell me if you can see where the protest was, and then we're going to talk about it here in a second. Okay, so there was a protest in that last lap against Justin, against your winner, and believe it or not, it was in the last corner, which you would know if you could hear the audio right here. I've decided to turn it off. I just didn't feel great about posting the audio here about the protest when these guys don't really have a forum to defend themselves in. So, Brian, after watching the footage, what do you think?
Yeah, I know that one of the things Justin said was, "Hey, I have the footage," and we have the footage as well. So
here it is.
Yeah, I went back and I watched it a couple times with you, Jeff, and I don't think there's anything to be protestable. I think there was a couple moments where riders got close to each other, and if a rider is advancing and another rider is going backwards, that speed differential feels a lot more aggressive. And if there's any little lateral movements, if it's close to a corner, people get spooked by that. But hey, social distancing doesn't exist in bike racing, so I think it was all fair here, and I think honestly I would have not changed anything for Justin. I think he was the rightful winner here, and
he was.
All protests dropped. Yeah, all protests dropped, right?
All protests dropped. Yeah, it was just kind of, I think it was a heat of the moment type of thing. People were riding in a straight line. There might have been a little bit of drifting on Justin's part. There might have been an equal amount of drifting on the lead-out's part. So this is just the nature of the sport. There was no ill will, and I'm really glad to hear that Justin kept his win, and it was a well-deserved win. Like, he just made it to that last corner first with 140 meters to go, you guys. You got to sprint. The finish line may as well be the last corner. That's exactly what Justin did here, and again, congrats on the win, Justin, and hey, thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned for some more footage with my frenemy over the interwebs. Brian, good to have you on.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Play all our videos while you ride the trainer for the next 6 to 8 weeks in quarantine.